Welcome students back to understanding of figures of speech. We've already understood them concept wise. Now we'll go through the poem again and see within those lines which were the figures of speech used. So I've made two columns here. Here you have the poem lines. This is the column of your poems, of the poem lines. And here the paragraph wise I've given you some figures of speech that have been used in the poem. So I'll directly come to this column, anaphora. If you see this stanza in, I'll come to Road Not Taken. In the poem Road Not Taken, there are 4 verses, and the first prominent figures of speech that you can find out is the rhyming scheme, the rhyming pattern. So every stanza you can see is in 5 lines, and at the end of every line the words, how do they rhyme, we are going to find out. There is would and stood and could, so they 3 rhyme together with the same sound, and both and undergrowth rhyme differently in a different way. So there are 2 groups, so we call this group A and we call this B. So this is A, B, A, A, B. So that is how we find rhyming pattern or rhyming scheme, A, B, A, A, B. And the same way you're going to find in every stanza. Sometimes the poet may use the same rhyming scheme in each and every stanza, but sometimes the poets may have a different pattern in different stanzas. It need not be uniform also all the time. Fine. So first is rhyming scheme that we have found, and I have also sent you can say the synopsis of this poem stanza, and within each stanza which are the rhyming words that you can refer to later on. Next is anaphora. Anaphora, remember the repetition of the word in the beginning. So here you can see and sorry and bill. So here and look down. So here the poet is repeating the word and to make better emphasis that there are 2 roads, and I'm sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler and look down. So the idea is to lay more emphasis. So this is anaphora, and whenever you identify the figure of speech, you have to give the explanation as to why you think so. In a brief manner, in a short manner, you have to quickly give what is the reason that you find there is anaphora. So you have to say that which is the word being repeated. Okay. Then there is metaphor. I remember metaphor when comparison is indirectly done. So here 2 roads are referring to 2 choices. So that is metaphor. Now again rhyming scheme I have given you in every stanza. It is the uniform rhyming scheme A, B, A, A, B. Now simile. Here you can see then took the other just as fair. So here the other road is compared to be just as fair, as like it's been compared to be so beautiful and fair. So this is, and when you use a direct comparison with the word like or as or so, then it is called simile. Personification. So here the road is personified because here the poet says it was grassy and wanted wear, as if the road wanted someone to use it. So wanting means it's a desire, and who can desire? Roads cannot desire, they can't have wishes, only human beings have. So here the fact that the road is desiring to be used, so it is personification of the road. So again you have to specify the reason that the road is personified. Why? Because here it is specified that the road wants or it desires to be used. Then alliteration. Remember the consonant sound being repeated. So wanted where, that is the consonant sound repeated. You have to show the words and which is the consonant sound. It is W consonant sound being repeated. Next stanza, rhyming scheme again I have showed you. Now the figure of speech is imagery. Most of the cases you will find imagery because many places they are expressed in such a way that helps you to imagine, visualize the image of the road. So imagery is there in number of places. Like in leaves no step, whenever you are making an effort to describe it in detail, means you are helping to build an image. So it is imagery. Alliteration, the F consonant sound is repeated. Enjambment, remember I told you no punctuation used. Like here you have exclamation mark, you have your comma, your full stop. But in the first line, there is no punctuation. So it's a continuation. When you read it, you do not make any pause, but you have to read it together with the second line. That is the effect of enjambment. Enjambment. Now coming to the last stanza, again the rhyming scheme is there. Repetition is there because your ages and ages, the word is repeated. Why? To have more emphasis. And then I have given you a note to say that imagery is used in many places in this poem to help the reader visualize the forest scene. And the whole poem is also metaphorical, means metaphor is used in many places because everywhere it is to convey that the road refers to the choices, and the wearing and tearing of road means how you have spent your time in your life. So many places metaphor is there. Symbolic is almost the same when you are using the words to refer to a concept, like here the two roads referring to choices, so we can also call it symbolic. So these are the figures of speech used in the poem Road Not Taken. Now we'll come to wind. Again, as such, in this poem Wind, there are no stanzas. If you see, it goes together with all the lines. So, and if you see, because there are no stanzas, though I have broken it for my sake of explaining you in a better way, so I've broken in 4 parts, but there is no stanza as such in the poem. And there is also no pattern of any rhyming word. You can see softly, windows, papers, shelf, down, books, so no rhyming. So when no rhyming is there, rhyming need not be. Sometimes the poet is so much involved with the concept that rhyming need not be important to make it effective. And when rhyming is not used, we call it free verse. So the first figure of speech we come across is anaphora in this first part, where you can see don't is being repeated in the beginning. So you have to explain why anaphora, because don't is repeated in the beginning. Then personification, again here in many cases the whole poem personification is used, because everything that the wind is doing, it's coming softly, it's breaking, it's scattering, it's throwing, it's tearing. So many things that the wind is doing as if it's a person doing something. So there are many examples of personification in this poem. So wind is personified when it is throwing like humans do. Rhyming scheme, once you have to refer to it, that it is written in free verse and there is no rhyming scheme in the poem. Coming to the next part, again anaphora, where you is used in the beginning of the lines. There is alliteration, like the wind winnows, so W consonant sound is there. Then there is, you can see, prominent repetition of crumbling. Yeah, he need not have told crumbling so many times, but it lays a good impact when you use the word repeatedly. Crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters. So repetition is used. Metaphor, comparison of act of God, like the wind god winnows. So the god is winnowing, as if the what winnowing does, the comparison of this action is done with God. Like winnowing process removes the unwanted dust particles or those which are light. The same way God is doing the action of removing the weak. So here the comparison is done, so it is called metaphor. Next, personification. As I told you, in many examples you'll find your personification, like here the wind will be your friend. How an object, how a concept like wind, phenomena like wind become your friend. So it is like personification of wind behaving like some human and becoming your friend. Symbolism, again here the fact that the wind is blowing things, so it's like a challenge that you find in your life. So the wind symbolizes challenges, so it is called symbolism. In the last part, alliteration, again you can see the wind weak, so the w consonant sound is being repeated. And there is also the f, fires and flourish. So it is called alliteration, where F consonant sound is being repeated in the words fire and flourish. And as I told you, again a note I've given you to indicate that in the whole poem there are many examples of personification, though I might have not written in each and every line, but you may find out more examples of such figures of speech. So there are many examples of personification, as wind is doing many actions like humans do in this poem. And there is imagery also, because the poet has expressed in such a way that helps you to build a good imagination, and that helps you to visualize the wind blowing and damaging. And one more thing I want to say is that in one line, if you find like in this line there is anaphora. So it's not that in one line you have to find only one figure of speech, or there can be only one figure of speech. There can be as many figures of speech possible in a line. Okay. It could be two or three also, because there could be alliteration also, there could be anaphora also, there could be repetition also, there could be a metaphor example also. So it is quite possible so that you may have more than one figures of speech used in a line. So these are all the figures of speech that have been used as a tool or a device to make this poem so effective and so interesting. I hope you have understood these figures of speech. In case of any doubt, you may interact with me and again discuss with me. Thank you. Have a good day.